The Flea by John Donne. Donne's The Flea is certainly not a coy poem, but a carpe diem poem. In other words, a plea to make the most of the present, which, in this case, is for the woman to agree to have sex with the speaker. This is made abundantly clear in the third line, which, when published, would have looked like this on the page. The long S, a common typographical feature that was around well into the 18th century, is barely distinguishable from an F. And yes, Donne knew what he was doing. To remove all doubt, there are also references to virginity in the first stanza and penile erection. This, then, is not a poem about a parasitical insect, but about sexual love. How is the flea linked with sex? Well, Donne is using the flea as a witty, clever conceit. The speaker comments on how the flea, by feeding on both himself and his lover, has joined their blood together. This idea is developed in the second stanza, where a less earthy, more respectful tone is present through the use of religious imagery, arguing that the flea has married the couple and is effectively priest, church, and wedding bed. Donne even manages to invoke the theological concept of the Holy Trinity, in a bid to give the lovers' relationship a holy quality. It's worth noting the concept of three is consistently applied. There are 3 stanzas, 3 lives, the flea, speaker and lover, 3 people who begrudge the speaker, parents and the lover, and so on. On first reading, this may appear to be mocking the church and religion, but it should be borne in mind that Donne would go on to become Dean of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Presumably, the poem predates his elevation, although we're not sure of the date of the flea's composition. In the final stanza, the lover takes action and gives her response to the speaker's argument by killing the flea. This prompts mock outrage from the speaker, but it remains part of his conceit, as he draws an equivalence between the lover's smug claim that nothing bad has happened with his argument that the same is true if they have sex. Her response is not recorded, nor in fact is she given a voice at all. The events are entirely from the male perspective, and so the reader can either admire the wit and intelligence of the speaker as he successfully sustains the conceit of the flea and wins the argument, or see his persistence as aggressive and disturbing. The poem is controlled and consistently organised. It also applies the rule of 3, there's that number again, as each stanza consists of a sestet and a triplet, with the sestet consisting of 3 rhyming couplets, whilst the triplet has a triple rhyme. The function of the sestet is to develop the argument, with each couplet making a point, a bit like a building block in an argument. The triplet offers a conclusion to each stanza. The flea has enjoyed itself more than the lovers. The flea's life should be spared. And no real harm will come from the woman agreeing to have sex. Donne's dexterity with the form and his use of the conceit conveys a self-conscious acknowledgement of his skill. There's a degree of showing off here on his part, which, again, the reader can either admire and enjoy, or find pretentious and even a little arrogant.